Hey guys, so today we're going to be cleaning this 12-gallon Fluval aquarium. It just needs a general cleaning that we do like every 3 or 4 weeks. And we got a little bit of algae growth on some things. So I keep my water at about 79 degrees. And so that's kind of one of the factors in cleaning it. I have 2 5-gallon buckets, makes it a lot easier. And since I'm gonna take out 20% of the water, 25%, then that means I'm going to take out about 3 gallons, okay? And so in the 5-gallon bucket, we've got approximately 3 gallons of water in one of the buckets. So I'm going to go ahead and prepare 3 gallons of new water. And this is just tap water. I've used my digital thermometer to make sure the tap water is the same temperature as the tank. Things I'm gonna need to add to this water is dechlorinator, bacteria supplement, and baking soda. So the first thing we're gonna do is put the right amount of water dechlorinator in. And I already know that 10 gallons of new water requires 1 milliliter of this dechlorinator. So I'm only using 3 gallons of water, so I just want 0.3 milliliters, which is 1/3 of a milliliter. So I have the dechlorinator in the syringe already, and 10 drops of this makes a milliliter. So I'm gonna put 3 drops in because that's 1/3 of a milliliter. So I'm just gonna do 3 drops into my new water. Okay. Also, brand new water needs to have bacteria supplement put in it. Bacteria is good for your tank. And so this bacteria supplement for a water change requires 5 milliliters for 10 gallons. So we're gonna have 3 gallons here, so we're gonna do 1/3 of this, which is basically 1.5 milliliters, okay? And there's also a little gauge on this particular cap, so you can kind of measure that from the cap if you want to. But I've got 1.5 milliliters pulled up, so I'm just gonna add that to my water. Take a test strip, and I'm gonna test my water. And what I'm looking for now is that the chlorine is out and my alkalinity and pH levels. I'm gonna check those real quick. 4th one down, which is totally white, means there's no chlorine. And my alkalinity is a little on the low. It looks like it's around 40, and I really want it to be somewhere in the 100 to 120 range. And my pH level looks like it might be around 6.8, and I really want it to be up around 7. What I'm gonna do to correct it is add a little baking soda to bring my alkalinity up. And I really don't have a true measurement for you. I'm doing 3 gallons, so I'm just gonna put a pinch of baking soda in my water. And that, from my experience, that should bring me up to the levels that I'm looking for. If you need to drop your pH, if you needed to bring your alkalinity up and that brought your pH up too high, then they make pH decrease. Next thing I'm gonna do in my tank, because I have a very small opening to operate. So I'm gonna remove the top rock, and I may go ahead and remove these rocks. That's just me. You don't have to do that. You're not gonna be able to clean the entire gravel aggregate, because by the time your siphon starts working, the water level's gonna drop. And as soon as it gets down to the 3 gallon mark, you need to stop pulling water out. So next thing I wanna do is I wanna turn off my pump, because we're gonna drop the water level beyond the suction. And I'm gonna take this suction off and clean the inside of it. So I've got the pump turned off, and I took the top off of it. I'm just gonna pull my filter cartridge out. Okay, now you don't have to replace this is a Fluval filter. It's made in different components. I don't have to replace all of this at the same time. In fact, it's not recommended to replace every element at the same time. So we're gonna, right now, we're just gonna place these into our bucket, okay? And I've put my rocks and things in my clean water for now. So now I'm just gonna take the tube off of my filter, because I'm gonna be cleaning that. Okay, so this has got a lot of algae inside it, so don't worry about your clean water. You just pop that right down in there, because this water is going to become part of this water. So whatever's in this water now is going to be fine to go into your clean water bucket for now, okay, just for storage. Me, I've set up a little light. I have a light that shines in there because I've turned all the power to the aquarium off, and I want to be able to see what I'm doing because I still have little critters in there, and we're going to be cleaning this tank with the critters in it. So I don't want to accidentally get any of them involved in the siphon tube or anything like that. All right, so this is the siphon tube. I've created a little handle on my siphon tube because I only have a small hole to work through, and it's hard for me to reach into my tank without putting my arm in it, and putting your arm in it pushes water out, so I had to make myself a handle until I get the water level down some. And then this is my empty bucket, and so this is where the dirty sediment will go, okay? So you're just gonna stick your siphon tube into the tank here, okay? Find a nice clean spot with no critters. And then you have this pump here, and you just wanna pump it and get the water flowing. Okay, so water's flowing, and now you're gonna move this siphon tube around in the aggregate. And it's going to pull things out of it. And I got a little snail in there, so I'm just going to, you see all that? That's just waste and food, extra food that didn't get consumed. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and keep doing this. Just do this until your water level gets down to where you want it. Now I have identical buckets, so I know how much water I had in one bucket. And I'm going to fill my second bucket up to that same level. Okay, we've got 25% of our water out. The dirty water with the sediment is in a bucket, and I've got the same amount of water, clean water, in another bucket ready to go in. Before I put that water in, I'm gonna go ahead and clean my tank. I'm gonna wipe it down, get the algae off the sides, and do a few things like that. All right then, so I'm gonna clean my glass, and I'm gonna take a brush to some of my decorations. And you don't want to clean this in the sink or anything. Do not let chlorine touch this. Just take a brush and knock off any excess that you want to and put it back in. Actually, the algae and the slime that you feel on this is good for the fish. That's what you want. You want that in your tank. Okay, so in my tank, it's time to replace the Biomax filter, which is the white pellets, and then the carbon, which is charcoal, activated charcoal. And then down here, you just have an aggregate filter, basically a sponge, okay? So I'm just gonna rinse that one out. I'm just gonna take a sponge, and we're just gonna give it a rinse out here, okay? Again, this is the same water that just came out of your tank, and so it looks bad because it's all stirred up, but okay, so your sponge is nice, and this sponge is gonna have bacteria colonies growing on it. It's still gonna be a little bit, have a little film on it from the bacteria, and that's what you want. You don't wanna completely take the bacteria colonies out of your, I'm just gonna set this here for now, okay? And then I have a new Biomax filter. Not every filter has this. This is the Fluval filter, so it has the Biomax component. And then your charcoal. Now this charcoal, activated charcoal, needs to be rinsed also. But try not to use tap water, or if you do use tap water, come back to your treated water and give it a good thorough rinse, okay? So I'm just gonna give this a quick rinse. Okay, so I've got my decorations, my rocks, my lava rocks, and everything back in the tank. I've cleaned my glass, everything back together. Fish are still thriving. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put our new water in the tank. Okay, so I'm all done with cleaning the tank. I've got the water back in it. My filter is flowing. I removed a lot of the algae from my little lava rocks and things. But you really don't want to clean everything. I still have some algae on my plants. You don't want to get all that out. The snails eat algae, as so do my shrimp. They're bottom feeders and they're also algae feeders. So you want to keep some algae and bacteria in the water. That's what makes your water clean and clear. So the last thing I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna do one more test strip. And this is my ammonia kit tester. So I'm gonna test to see that there's no ammonia at all in my water. If there is, then I need to do another water change, and there's also some ammonia decreaser that you can get. So my ammonia level reads 0, and it has for the longest time. So I'm good on ammonia. Now let's do our multi-level test strip. My nitrates are in a safe zone. My nitrites are 0. I'm at a soft hardness here. My chlorine level's at 0. My total alkalinity is, I would say it's in a moderate zone here. And my pH levels are between somewhere around 7.2 to 7.8, it looks like. I may be a little high on my pH level, so I could maybe possibly bring it back down a little bit. But overall, I think my water's looking good. My fishies look happy. In about an hour, it'll be crystal clear again and good for another month. All right, hope you enjoy.